Alright guys, welcome to my presentation. Basically, this first presentation is going to be about the actual funnel that I run and how to properly build a brand. And then the second presentation that I'm going to do, which is going to be on Friday, is going to be how to properly track your data and basically how to build a proper system and scale predictably, essentially. So to start off with a question, how many of you have actually gotten what you would consider a viral video? Raise your hand. Jero. Alright. So most people, they try to build a funnel, a sales funnel, but they don't actually try to build a brand. So, when people build sales funnels, they just, try to use this strategy and they kind of hop between different shiny objects a lot of the time, in most cases. Whereas if you focus on just building a brand that owns the actual funnel itself, that's going to get you way more money and it's going to get you way more brand attention. And basically a lot of people, when they create their brand, they just post random reels and hope it goes viral. And they do cold direct response traffic, basically chasing virality, whereas that's not actually going to create the conversion within your business. Because cold direct response traffic, essentially the sales cycles are super short, which is why you're going to have super high objections and a lot of people are going to ghost. So with content, it's all about actually having leverage. It's not about effort, right? If you're sitting down every day for 3 hours just thinking about content, you're never going to create the best piece of content. The best pieces of content happen by living your life and essentially creating leverage around that with, having a cameraman filming you, having clippers and a team basically clip all that to create the highest quality content. So it's not even about effort. It's just about creating the leverage and the systems within your business to be able to create the highest quality content. Because your highest quality content, your brand essentially, is your life. And that's how you actually want to frame your brand. So there's two types of offers, I like to call them. So you've got offer-led and brand-led. So a lot of people, they just run cold traffic to VSL and don't really have a proper middle of funnel. They don't really do any nurturing at all. And most of these leads usually have very high objections. They're usually low quality, because there's not a proper middle of funnel in place. Whereas when you've got a proper brand built and you've got, proper middle of funnel, proper bottom of funnel, where you actually nurture the people, you handle objections, pre-handle them, you change beliefs within your content and your personal brand, that's what's actually going to get the people to actually, see you as an authority. You're going to build trust and then they're not going to ghost you. They're not going to have any objections. They're just going to be pre-sold on your offer and they're going to piff most of the time if you do it correctly. So the same offer, we've got two different outcomes. So with outcome one, where you just run cold traffic, cold direct response, no middle of funnel at all, you're basically going to have a lot of objections, people are going to ghost, and they're just going to they're going to be price shoppers basically. Whereas if you build a brand where, you post content, you pre-handle objections, you do all this stuff, you're going to book more calls, they're going to show up, and they're going to see the value, and they're already going to be super pre-sold on your offer. Which means that most of the time they're not really going to have any questions. A lot of the time they might even, pay in the DMs without a sales call because they already understand a lot about your content and your offer itself, and they trust you at the same time. So the sale is made before the call. With this type of brand, the sale is actually made before the sales call. So 80% of the sale should be made in the marketing, not the sales. So with your content that you post, it should basically, like I said, pre-handle the objections. So you need to have a very deep understanding of your ICP and what beliefs they have. Because when you understand that, you can actually create content that's hyper-specific to those beliefs and to that ICP. And when you actually change that, that's what creates the conversion. Where they see you, your first impression, so like the top of funnel usually, whether that's an ad, the top of funnel content, top of funnel YouTube, and then the middle of funnel, you would change all the beliefs, you would nurture them, build trust, build authority, show case studies, and eventually, they'll book a call and they'll close. And if you do this correctly, once they see enough of your content, they'll basically be pre-sold on the call, and most of the time, they won't really have that many questions, not that many objections, because it already got handled in the marketing, not the sales. So I'm sure most of you heard of this rule, the 7-11-4 rule. Essentially, this is a study made by Google where someone has to watch 7 hours of your content with 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms, which is exactly why you need to be posting content on different platforms where people can connect with you on Instagram, on YouTube, in the DMs, on a call. And you need to have different touch points within that. And obviously the content needs to be dialed, which is exactly why YouTube is super important in this funnel also, because that's how you get the actual 7 hours up. So going viral is not actually what you want to do. Like, what's actually better in your guys' opinion? Do you think it's better to actually get a video that gets 3 million views, but you've not got the positioning, you're not an authority, you don't get any ICP views, but you know, it's sort of in that market? Or a video that gets, say, 20k views, but you're positioned as a very high authority, they see you as someone that's super credible, and they actually want to buy from you from that video. What do you guys think?
20k.
Obviously, yeah, because you're going to get, you know, that positioning way and the messaging way better. So obviously you've got your Instagram and your YouTube. So how this actually ties together. So with Instagram, usually this is where we get the top of funnel attention. So we've got top of funnel ads, essentially, that fuels the Instagram. So once you've got a proper Instagram reel strategy with like trial reels and all that in place to get the proper eyeballs in, then you can actually fuel that brand with the ads. Because most people, what they do is when they run some sort of like a profile funnel, what they do is they rely on ads solely, and you know, you're just going to waste a bunch of money on profile visit ads. When they land on your profile, they don't see you as an authority at all. So that's why the most important part when you're building a personal brand like this to create the conversion is to actually position your Instagram and YouTube to be super high authority, right? And then use the ads as like a booster. You don't use it as your main driver in this sort of funnel and this type of like brand. So yeah, in terms of YouTube, right, the sole purpose of YouTube is just to nurture people, right? Obviously you've got some top of funnel like vlogs and lifestyle type content, but at the end of the day, that's just kind of to show a bit more lifestyle, be a bit more authentic. But YouTube is not really to get more eyeballs, it's to nurture the people. So how do you actually bridge the gap from Instagram to YouTube? So there's a few ways we actually do that. We do that through story sequences. So daily story sequences, we run some sort of reply CTA where we send them to a YouTube video and we actually start a convo with them. In the highlights, for example, in my watch this, it links to my VSO, where essentially I pre-handle a bunch of objections and I change 6 beliefs, which is the most important part of the VSO. And then we actually set up a start here sequence on the YouTube, which also optimizes the YouTube channel, where the VSL is first, and then we've got a bunch of proof. So for example, I've got my mastermind video, I've got another kind of like where I'm presenting my software, and these videos in the start here sequence essentially are to build the most amount of authority and pre-handle the biggest beliefs that change the biggest beliefs that your ICP has. So the actual funnel itself. So with the brand, you need to actually have a proper document outlining everything. You know, the values, the beliefs, the actual visuals on everything on how you want people to perceive you. From there, you're going to run your ads and your content. So that's super important. The content has to actually align with your brand. It shouldn't be, you know, one post is going to be use these colors, another post is going to use these colors, and the actual values and beliefs that you actually change and what you show yourself as is different. It all has to align with your brand. From there, we've got Instagram DMs. People can actually book in with a setter through the DMs or with a link in the YouTube description. And obviously you've got the setters and the closers to automate the sales cycle, basically. So basically, we generate attention, then we build that trust and generate the conversion. So with the attention, right, that we create through the ads and the Instagram in the top of funnel, we then build that trust in the YouTube and create the conversion within the DMs and the description. So like I said before, the Instagram is for the discovery. So once you actually discover your page, you just want to bridge the gap to YouTube where you create that trust, you build that authority, you show the vlogs, you change the beliefs, you pre-handle all the objections. So content's job isn't views, It's trust. So, like I said before, you should not be chasing, a video that goes viral. You should be chasing a video that builds trust and gets ICP views, and at the same time positions you as a super high authority. So the content pillars. So we've got authority content. So this is mastermind videos, different testimonial videos. We've got value videos where you basically break down a system, you change the beliefs, and do coaching call type videos. And the authenticity. The authenticity videos are what make your brand personal at the end of the day. So without that, you'll just be like a generic brand like everyone else. The authenticity part is what makes your brand unique at the end of the day. So that's where you actually want to show your core values, your beliefs, who you are as a person, so that the people actually buy into you and not buy into just your offer. Because in the coaching space, a lot of people, they all have the same offer. They all basically sell the same thing at the end of the day. So how are you going to differentiate yourself? And that's going to be through the authenticity pillar. So with the authenticity pillar, once you differentiate yourself from all of the other competitors, that's how you're actually going to build a brand. And that's how you're going to be different from everyone else in the space. So how do you actually create these reels? So the first 3 seconds, which is the hook, this is what actually gets people to watch the video, and this is how we only get the ICP viewers to watch the video. So in the 3 seconds, we've got the first frame and what we actually say in those 3 seconds. So a lot of people, when they're on Instagram, they just scroll and keep scrolling. So the first frame has to be something out of the ordinary, something that they don't expect, something that creates curiosity. So for example, this is an AI clip, by the way, that I just made because I was testing out different B-roll shots to see what would actually hook someone. And that video, by the way, was like a 4x outlier for me. So just by changing the first frame of the video, it was a 4x outlier. This video, it also creates curiosity because there's people listening to me and it's out of the ordinary. Another idea would be to show your phone with a striped dashboard and it's a bit blurry, so it creates that curiosity. And then you'd have the title on top. The title is what actually gives context to what they see, and then you'd actually say it. And that's the first 3 seconds. So those 3 seconds is what's going to hook someone. So how do you actually handle the ecosystem? So this is the entire ecosystem that is going to be used to nurture someone. So for top of funnel, you've got the ads, the top of funnel reels, and top of funnel YouTube. With the actual ads, like I said, it just boosts your brand as the Instagram profile. Your top of funnel reels is what actually gets the ICP views, is what follows your brand. And all of that leads to your middle of funnel content. Your middle of funnel content is actually what gets people to change their beliefs, and that's when we actually bridge to YouTube. We don't do many bottom of funnel reels on this because we're not really trying to get them to buy on Instagram. We're trying to get them to YouTube, and from there, we're trying to get them to buy or to book a call. So the YouTube profile has to be optimized, and all of this, by the way, is tracked fully. It needs to be tracked. If not, you don't know how to scale. So that's going to be my second presentation. But yeah, at the end of the day, the red is the YouTube. So the VSL is on YouTube. That's basically the video that everybody's going to watch before booking the call. And that is the most important video, because that video is what changes the most beliefs within your ICP. So once you've got the deep understanding of your ICP and your messaging and your positioning, the VSL is going to pre-handle the top objections that they have. They're going to change the biggest beliefs that they have, and that's basically what they watch before booking the call. And yeah, all of that leads to daily story sequences. With daily story sequences, you're going to just keep nurturing them. They keep seeing your face at the end of the day, so you keep staying top of mind. And yeah, the middle of funnel organic is usually the YouTube, where basically, like I said, we just change the beliefs, we show the systems, we show the unique mechanisms, and that's what gets somebody to be nurtured to then book a call. So double down on what works. Once you actually have proper tracking, okay, and you understand what video brought you the most amount of cash collected, what story sequence brought you the most amount of cash collected, how is your VSL performing, the retention graphs and all of this, the skip rates. All of that needs to be tracked to then understand what you actually need to double down on. Because if you just look at views, you're never going to really understand if that video, is actually valuable for your brand, right? So you need to really understand what you're tracking and double down on what brought you the most amount of cash or the highest LTV clients, not just the views. So how do you actually handle production and delegation within the brand? So basically, you would need to create some sort of Airtable dashboard with your editors, with your content direction team, and everything needs to be inside a pipeline with ideating, scripting, and filming, editing. All that needs to be inside a pipeline with all the Google Drives, so that we actually understand the purpose of every single piece of content. Under every single piece of content on the Airtable, we see what's the purpose of this reel? What's the purpose of this YouTube video? Is it to change this belief? Is it to pre-handle this objection? All of that gets marked on Airtable, and all the actual raw content is on Google Drive. So, ad spend. You can actually, like I said before, you can spend a lot of your money on ads to a VSL funnel, right? That yes, it may work and all of this, but if you don't have the proper brand in place and you're just some random guy that they see online, you don't have the proper middle of funnel strategy in place, they're never going to buy from you. You're going to have super high cost per call, you're going to have super high cost per close. But if you build a brand and then you're in a VSL funnel or you run some sort of profile funnel and run ad spend to that, then you're going to be seen as an authority, and then they're going to actually show up to the call, and the cost per call is going to be way cheaper because you've got a brand in place and you're not just some random guy on the internet with a better guarantee. So how does this actually work? So basically, the video ad, the ad itself can be two types of videos. It can be a high performing reel that got you a low skip rate, that got you ICP followers, ICP views, and there's a lot of questions in the comments about how to work with you and stuff like that. That could be boosted as an ad, as a profile visit campaign, as top of funnel, and you can also film dedicated ads to actually run as profile visits. This way we can actually see which type of content performs the best as top of funnel in the ads, and from there the middle of funnel campaign for ads would be basically to nurture them, pre-handle the objections, and it will be on the video, it will say like follow me. On the actual video itself, because it's super low barrier to entry at the end of the day, they just need to press a button, and from there, once they follow, they see your story sequences, they see your reels, they start seeing your brand, they might get a DM from the setter, and they get booked in. All of that leads to your VSL. Like I said, it's like a 20-30 minute video that pre-handles all the objections, changes all the beliefs, and they have to watch this before they book a call. If someone just started following you and you book the call the next day, they're never going to buy because they've never seen your content. There's no chance they've seen 7 hours of your content, right? So in the DMs, it's not just about booking the call. It's also about nurturing them, sending them to different YouTube videos, understanding what their problems are, and sending them to that right YouTube video. From there, obviously, the reels need to also provide value. So it's not just about lifestyle. You need to also create the reels that are high authority. So double down on what converts. Obviously, track everything, track your ROAS. This is our old Airtable dashboard. We've actually upgraded this. So make sure everything is fully tracked. If not, you'll never know how to scale. So from the DMs, basically, in the DMs, we nurture them, send them to the right YouTube videos, then the setters handle all of that, the closers collect the cash. And yeah, from DM, we send them to booking, we send them to all the pre-call assets, so we'd have email and SMS flows to basically send them all the VSL assets and even breakout videos, right, to answer different questions that they have and provide answers to that. So yeah, call, close, cash, all that needs to be tracked. What are actually the highest LTV clients? Where do they come from? Which YouTube videos provide the highest LTV clients? All that needs to be tracked. If not, you won't know how to properly scale. So some results, we took Jero from 15K revenue to 60K revenue with a personal brand and a 12x ROAS. And yeah, that was my first presentation. The second presentation is going to be all about actually tracking and, you know, actually delegating all the tasks and all the production and the teamwork. Thank you very much. So I've got a Q&A now, if anybody's got any questions. Gerald?
When you said code direct response, what do you mean by code direct response?
So,
Start the presentation.
So a lot of people, a lot of brands, what they actually do is when they don't have a proper brand in place, they just run ads to a VSL funnel with cold traffic. And they try to, you know, sell them a 2K program when they're cold. They've not actually seen anything from you. So it's direct to response at the end of the day. They see an ad and then they expect them to pay 2K up front or something like that. It's never going to properly work because they need to see your content at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, anyone else? Jara?
What would you do if you set a book to like a lead that seems good, but is clearly under nurtured? Because I get that, like my setter would book a call, and the call would say, yeah, I have like a couple thousand saved up in the bank, I can invest. But you know they ain't even watched a minute of your YouTube.
Okay.
Would you still take that lead through, or what would you do?
Well, do you think if that lead went on a sales call, do you think they'd piff 2K?
And that's the thing, bro. Like with Rio shanking them, there's a high possibility that they could close. I mean,
We've got the Rambo, to be fair.
like our close is good, but obviously it's lower chance that they do end up closing.
Okay.
But I wouldn't like to leave money on the table and tell them, oh, watch this.
Why don't you just make sure they watch it once they book a call? The VSL.
Is that enough? Say they book for tomorrow. Are they gonna be nurtured or under nurtured?
Bro, you shouldn't be booking people like that. They need to be nurtured. Like, imagine you as a lead. Oh, I've got 2K in the bank. All right, let's book a call. And you've only seen an ad and maybe a couple reels. Would you pay 2K?
I mean, I did for Siggy, bro. To be fair, I saw like 2 ads and I picked Siggy.
Yeah, there are people who do that. But
That's what I'm saying. There are people who do that. I remember.
Yeah, but
there's
that's
one-
B2B though.
No, there's one guy, Nikhil. Do you remember Nikhil? Bro, Nikhil started following like 20 minutes ago. Booked a call, 30 minutes later, piffed next day. Had no idea who I was before, bro.
But how do you know that he didn't watch your YouTube?
Because we asked him. He said, oh, I just saw your ad and I wanted to learn.
Fairness, I didn't know who you were when I piffed.
He didn't
This
know who I was.
guy was asleep and just woke up, jumped on a call.
I closed it, bro. I closed it.
was.
No, bro, not to take away from it. I'm saying, what's the opportunity cost?
And bro, at the end of the
Is
day,
it better to take the chance with that lead,
like
or is it better to risk it and tell him to watch this and watch that, but she might not be too keen?
at the end of the day, right? You're gonna have way more leads that come in that are way more nurtured, and it's gonna be way easier for the
Yeah,
closers
yeah.
to come in.
Yeah.
But maybe in the sales call, you know, Rio can nurture him a bit, not just straight emotion sell him, right? So he can talk a bit more about the agency, the agency model. He can talk about, because at the end of the day, they might be nurtured by someone else, right?
Yeah.
They might already understand agency, the business model, and they might, you know, they're probably about to get started, and they see you, and because they're in the most aware stage, right? They're already past product
Yeah.
aware. Then obviously they're gonna
I
piff,
agree,
but
bro.
but you shouldn't be
It's a
targeting.
minority.
Yeah, you shouldn't be targeting the most aware people in your content. You should be targeting like the problem and product aware people.
Yeah.
And
You're right, bro. You're right, bro.
Ilyas,
My question is regarding something that was also at the start of your presentation. It was it 7 to 11 to 4?
yeah,
7 for 11.
yeah.
7, 11, 4 structure.
4
right?
touch points.
So I wanted to...
No. 7 hours of content, 11 touch points, 4 platforms.
Hold on, let me ask him so he can
11
explain
touch
for his-
points.
Yeah, hold on, let me ask him so he can explain for his video.
Yeah, go on. Re-ask the question.
So my question was regarding something at the start of your presentation, and it was really interesting. It was the 7-11-4 structure regarding content. Now, let's say I wanted to start content. How would I practically look to implement that, and what should I focus on when I'm making my content?
Okay, so first of all, the 4 platforms. You can't just be on one platform. You need to have the DMs, you need to have the Instagram, the YouTube, and the actual call. That's your 4 platforms. In terms of the 7 hours of content, right, you're not going to get that on Reels. It's only going to be on YouTube. So long form is the best way to nurture someone at the end of the day, because they're going to see your face for like 30 minutes instead of a reel 30 seconds. So that's how you get the 7 hours. In terms of the 11 touch points, you're going to get that through Reels and the YouTube videos and the DMs. So at the end of the day, that's just how you would structure it. Building a good brand on Instagram and YouTube.
And when it comes to your advertising, this might interlink with the 11 touch points. Do you run any sort of retargeting campaigns for your clients?
Yeah, so for retargeting, what you do is, I explained the top of funnel. For retargeting, we do retention retargeting for people that watch over 50% of the top of funnel video. And we also do profile visit and engagement retargeting to those people. And we have like a hard follow CTA. Because it's such low barrier to entry, if it resonated with them and they see follow me,
They'll follow.
exactly. So that's kind of the goal of the ads, to get the qualified followers.
Thank you.
Eshe?
In terms of the VSL, I heard you said like at least 20 to 30 minutes.
This
Would
is-
that be the same for like a business, say like an agency.
So what I'm saying here, this is a YouTube VSL, right? In terms of landing page VSL, if you were to send them from an ad, for example, like, I don't know, retargeting for profile visitors and engages, as an example, I wouldn't make it more than 10 minutes, to be honest. Because they're scrolling for Instagram, they click on a link. I don't think really they're going to watch a 30-minute video, are they? So for YouTube, you need to make it a bit longer, but for like a VSL on a landing page, obviously a bit shorter and more direct to the point about your offer.
Makes sense.
Jaro?
So how do you, so 7 for 11, how do you get someone to watch 7 hours of your content?
Long form YouTube. So,
Like,
You get like
your content has to be binge watchable.
exactly.
yeah, but you also get like breakdown videos that are like 2, 3 to. I've watched a 6-hour-long video.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they combined all their best videos and put them together.
So what you also do,
How can you do that like at scale? Like something that's really, that people would actually watch?
well, that's why we got,
What's a good format for people to watch 7 hours of your content?
well, first of all, that's why we got to start here, like at the start of the YouTube profile. Also, at the end of the YouTube video, I usually link them to the start here. So I don't know how it's called, but you know how in the end of a YouTube video, it links you to other ones?
Like a playlist.
Yeah, like a playlist. I just link them to the playlist and they watch the playlist.
Like
But
an end screen.
yeah, but also make your videos a bit more entertaining, not just straight value, like a bit, integrate a bit of vlogs, like we're doing here in Marbella, right? All that makes it a bit more entertaining than to binge watch. Elias?
So the average person, for them to watch 7 hours of your content, that might take a couple weeks if they're busy, right?
Yeah,
Like, if I'm just thinking about myself, if I was looking at any sort of creator, I wouldn't watch 7 hours of content in a day, definitely. Maybe not in, definitely not in 2 days. Probably not in a week. It'll probably take, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Would you be worried about the lead possibly getting cold due to the long time frame that would take?
no, because you still got the platforms. You're still talking to them in the DMs. They're still getting retargeting ads, all of that. So, you still got the story sequences. Once they start following you and they resonate with your brand, if they actually like who you are as a person, like the authenticity, they're going to keep watching you. And if your content's entertaining, provides value, and they actually like it, and they like you as a person, why would they not watch it?
Bro, a lot of that happens on the back end as well. Like, we don't know who's watching our content right now. We're not scared that they might go cold. It's just happening simultaneously, innit?
You're getting thousands of views on videos,
Like
so it's like
obviously.
thousands of people.
Yeah.